It's that old thing again. So many buttons to go live. For some reason when I go, here I am in mid-rant, talking to you guys thinking that you can hear me, and alas, you cannot. But I believe now you can hear me and see me. I was jumping in just sort of with gusto, talking to everybody, saying hello, and what do you know? So, I'll repeat myself, which I'm prone to do anyway. Okay, I'm seeing people over here on Instagram. I'll try to watch it over there if I can. I don't know why it's not showing up on my phone. Normally the announcement that Tim Fagan is live is what Tim Fagan would see when Tim Fagan is watching Tim Fagan, but there's just too many ways to go. Oh, there he is. There's that guy. Okay, now I'm seeing it. Now I can see your comments. I would imagine a lot of us learned the D sus4. So we don't need those dots up there right now just yet. Put those away. Well, let's just play a nice sort of happy D sus4 over this kind of funky D walking bass line, right? So D sus4, maybe the sus2. Today we're going to explore all the ways you can do more with these very simple movable shapes. And when I say movable, it's all going to ride on your knowledge of triads. So let's work through a warm-up right now, gang. Grab your guitar, don't be shy, and we're going to get reacquainted with all the many spots that we can play a D triad. So, D down here, the open, the one that started it all, that open D chord has a triad on strings 1, 2, 3. Let's stay on those strings 1, 2, 3. Here we go, strings 1, 2, 3. There you go. Go back down to this first one. See if you can spell it out nice and clean. Now we go up to this one. Go back down to the first one. Okay, and now we're going to keep going up. So let's go up to this one on the 5th fret. Now we're going to go up to the one on the 10th fret. And just to remind you what I think you already know, let's look at these in their full context. That's that full open D chord. Now when I play this bar chord that I hardly ever hold that way because I can't get my fingies to fit in there, but that's that bar chord and that bar chord, right? So kind of the meat and potatoes, open chord, A-shaped bar chord, E-shaped bar chord, and we're just plucking off the top 3 strings. Let's do it again. Here we go, top 3 strings of that classic triangle shape. Top 3 strings of this one. You're like, where are the sus4 chords? Dead? Where's the friggin' sus4 chords? We're getting to it. Don't get angry. I got you. So here we go. It's sus4, the campfire original. Love that. Now we go sus4 up here. Okay, so I'm kind of showing you these now. And if you're like, I've never played those before in my life, you're a liar. I know you have. Start by playing that open chord, and now let's add the pinky. That's the one that we know, right? Stay there. Love it, love it, love it. Do it again, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going, don't stop. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going till you drop. So, sus4. Now let's go up to this triad. Here we go. There we go. Yeah, see, when I flatten my finger, then I mute that first string, and we need that first string, calf tech, today at least. Normally it's fine by me if I'm just like, but when you go, you know what I mean? So we got this regular triad, now we got the sus4. Regular triad, sus4. Let's go up to this next shape, the one on the 10th fret. Sus4. Okay, in this last 20 seconds of this warm-up, we're going to spell these out. Just follow my lead. Down to the open. Now let's go up to the 5th fret. Now let's go up to the 10th fret. All right, is that making sense? And or how are you doing today? If you're watching on the YouTube, if you answer in the chat 1, 2, 3, or 4, it will interact with this bar graph here. Is that making sense so far? It's just like pretty much just a straightforward warm-up. We've got the open chord that we all know and love. A lot of my members are here and they're like, we've been doing this all week, coach. We got this down. we're totally suspended like we're on a zip line, going over the pool 100 times, just doing moves. Pizza, slicing it out. Great. Love it. Everybody's feeling good. We got Mr. Yates out there. Let's go, Wes. Got Nicholas. Okay. As we add layers of information, I want you to understand that the engine underneath all of this today is just simple triads. And let's do a quick review of some more of these open shapes. Because again, I want to take the initial idea, Yoli, of sus chords as being this like campfire strummer type of thing, which is great. Who can name that tune, by the way? Who can name that tune? And you know what? I had the honor of meeting one of the gentlemen who was in the band that had that hit song in the 90s. I think it would have been early 90s. But this is a definite opening riff that has, oh, Galen knows. He's not going to hold back. We played this in a band. So Mellencamp is going to have, how's that go? Jack and Diane? Like there's so many intros, and this is why I did a video this week on YouTube called The Intro Sound, because when you get into the sound of the sus chords, they immediately elevate just standard chords into this feeling of movement, of like, that sort of like lift and then resolution. So when you get that sus4 sound, and then you resolve, she's a good girl. Over and over again, you're going to start to hear these now in a different way. And I want you to take these open chord shapes and realize that just in this first area of the neck, in addition to that D that has a sus4, let's go through the other open chords. So let's go to C major. We just did that. C major, put the pinky down, you get a sus4, right? And right now we're just, again, looking at the overview of getting these open chords and where they probably first showed up on our radar, sus4 chords. So how about E? But pinky goes down again. Down goes the pinky, right? A. This one you can do whatever finger you have available, pinky or third finger. D, we've done that. G, how about this one? This is a case where holding the G chord like that, where you have the available index finger back there, right? So there's maybe one way to hold the G chord, but in order to get that sus down there, that's a really good spot to put it, right? These are just in and of themselves great things to have, and just make sure you have all of them comfortable and easy to grab, because they're among other things something you're going to hear in a lot of vamps. So the term vamp usually refers to a 1 or 2 chord loop where it has minimal chord changes, but it has this sort of satisfying loop that can go around and around. So if I do the old foot stomp here, so just adding suspension and releases is a very different sound than if it was just straight up the chord. Exact same strumming, exact same everything else, but it sounds a little bit like I'm just staying monotone. And this is going to be something that you hear in intros to songs, where when someone is vamping in a live version and they need to sort of like remember what to say before they start the song, all that kind of stuff. And it just is something like interesting to sort of move around. Oh, there is a camera on my foot. If you look at the place where the foot is, then, you know, that's where it is. So, okay, C. It's very subtle. It's in sort of like midnight mode. C. Okay, same groove. Let's go down to E. sus4. A. Yeah, like an improv line. Right. D. So this is where I joke, like if someone's playing a sus chord, right? So if I'm like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. I know it took a lot to get down here. You had to get a babysitter. You had to do a line of coke with your friends in the bathroom and finally get out here and try not to get into a fight. But I just want you to know that as you're driving home, don't have someone else drive you home, because you clearly are an unhinged parent and you need to just sort of sleep it off in the yard. You know what I mean? It's just a regular intro that everyone can get behind. that's what we're doing. Sus chords live up to the name. But how do we take it out of the garage? How do we move it up and down the neck? Kind of like we were sneaking into in the intro. And again, the answer I've already revealed, but we're going to expound upon it, which is triads. Okay, how many of you feel pretty good about triads? And if you have a word that comes to mind when you think of triads, do drop it into the comments now, and do keep it family friendly. But what's the word? Boom! What's the word that comes to mind when triads come to mind? Oh, this is a nice iced coffee right here, gang. Infused with some adaptogens or whatever is in the mushroom powder that I put in there. Hope it's all right. By the way, if you're watching on Instagram, comment "get good," either as one word or proper grammar, "get good," and you'll get sent the link to all my free stuff. I have like this incredible, what I'm calling the open gym, because get it? It's the whole fitness thing, guitar workout of the day. And I've got this fantastic freebie section of tabs and lessons and videos, and it's very robust. It's not for someone, I'm not trying to just do a bait and switch. It's great. And honestly, if you hang out in the free tier, I love you. I want you to get lots of value from everything I teach. I enjoy doing what I do. But what I'm most proud of is that whenever I show up live on a Saturday, most of the people are my members who have been spending every day of the week with me going live as we work on these topics. So usually Saturday is when we're kind of like reviewing and having a bit of a sort of hang and kind of a party to celebrate this topic that we've been smashing every day of the week. So comment not go get good, just comment "get good" on Instagram, and you'll get that sent to you. And I think if you're watching on YouTube, there's an automated link that's popping up for the open gym. And that's the dealy bop there. So these classic baby chords, these triads, feeling good, floating them around. I forgot I had that on. That's good. That's fun. So let's look at C. And I'll build a little sort of backing loop here now with C, just sort of a mellow kind of, again, a vamp on C. And we're just gonna break these into smaller pieces, and you'll start to hear what I keep implying is the money aspect of these sus chords. So we've got this very subtle, just sort of easy breezy C. So now when I put on these dots, don't panic. In fact, I'll erase some of them and I'll undo the erasing of them. Hopefully I can do that. Let's see. Yeah, we'll just start with these blue dots, okay? So it's blue dots, just play a C, play an open C. But this is where you've got to mine for the gold that is the triads that live in there. So the top three strings, like the files are in the computer. Top three strings, right? sus4, we don't play that often because that's really tough to grab that when you're holding the rest of the chord, but we can access it right here in this top three strings. And the people love it. I tell you what, the people are gonna go crazy at your next dinner party for these suspensions. Okay, try that. Okay, we're gonna move quickly through these. You'll get the idea. Now we're moving down. So that's string set 1, 2, 3. So when I say string set, I'm talking about this cluster of strings, 1, 2, 3. We're gonna move down, and by down I mean down in pitch, which I know if you're brand new to guitar, you're like, but this is close to the floor. But down is this way on the guitar, down to the lower, thicker strings, because pitch is what overrides everything else. Because if you're in space, there is no up or down. Okay, the strings 2, 3, 4. That's a really nice, beautiful sounding triad. And a triad has the 1, the 3, and the 5. It has the elements that you need to have a major chord. No more, no less. Guess what? To do the sus4 there, you're always going to be raising the 3 up by 1 fret. So that's what that red circle is, right? That means that that's that major third, and we're going up 1 fret. And it's beautiful. In fact, play that a couple more times, just to spell it out, meaning you go. Sounds really thoughtful. Well, I was thinking today on the way to the gig, you know, is it gonna be a fart or something else? Not sure. Went to In-N-Out Burger last night and something's not sitting right. You know, whatever the person needs to be talking about. I'm not speaking from experience. Okay, let's go down string set 3, 4, 5. So now we've got this lower register of the chord, but we're not strumming anything more than those 3 strings. Very nice. And then you do that same suspension, right? I wish we did. We have no In-N-Out in Nashville, not yet. As we get into these lower triads, they sound particularly nice when you sort of spell them out and allow them to breathe, because if you hit them all together, they get a little bit cloudy, perhaps a little bit muddy, especially if there's a bass player, keyboard player, right? Let's go down to the lowest, the 4th and final string set, which is going to be strings 6, 5, and 4, these low guys. This is glorious and lush and low and breathy, but you got to make sure you play it nice and clear. And the fingering for this might be a little bit awkward, but isn't that nice? Great. Let's just quickly review these again. We got the top 3 strings. Then we're going to suspend it. Next 3 strings down. Suspend it. Next 3 strings down. Really like that one. Then the next 3 down. Okay. Glorious. Let's continue on, because what I want you to know is that part of what I'm sneaking in to this suspension chord workout is mapping all the triads, because we get a little bit overwhelmed. We think, do I have them all? Do I not have them all? And then most of the time what I see people do is that they try to bite off more than they can chew. And let me know if you can relate to this. And then they get overwhelmed, and then they kind of pull back and then just either don't play any of them, or they maybe just have one. They just have one, like triad shape in this case. And then they're scared to risk playing the other ones, because it can seem like a lot. But if you take it chunk at a time, and really, and this one's great because it's all based around this open C, this single shape right here. We've got triad, 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 triad. You just got to go chunk at a time and really isolate those. So I would recommend, don't hold the entire chord and just hope that you can play the triads in there. You want to adjust your fingering, because that's where you're going to have the flexibility then to do things that are more agile, and you can play melodies, and you're going to be going other places. So don't assume that if you just hold the chord, that's where you're going to stay put, because lo and behold, if we look at this right here, I'll try to remove some of the other dots so you can just zero in. What do we got right there? Which caged shapes, plural, does that one represent right there on the board? Because as we see it, the top 3 strings, we've spent some time there already. By the way, my blue electric guitar, the jam stick, is in the shop right now getting set up. It's annual setup, and I can't wait to get it back. But in the meantime, I love this Washburn, and it has a really cool Fishman triple play MIDI pickup, but the dots are notably a bit wonkier, particularly because it's an acoustic instrument. So there's going to be like overtones and harmonics that make it kind of misfire. So just enjoy the wonk, but for the most part, it's going to be nice and clear there on top of it. So there you go. It's the top 3 strings, and that's the A shape, right? That we saw in the intro when we were playing the D chord, but we had the A shape right there. A shape right there. And then as it moves down, it crosses over into the G shape. The reason for that is that these top 3 strings, that's a triad. We have a root, we have a third, and we have a fifth. That's the winning combination. That's the peanut butter jelly. You got to have that, and the bread, I guess. So this is the root, third, and fifth. Root, third, and fifth. But if we were to go down with that regular bar chord shape, that cluster of three strings is not a triad. That's a power chord, because that's root, fifth, and root. Sounds great, badass, not knocking it, but that is not a C major chord. That is just the power chord, right? Because that magical flavor of the third gives us the quality of major or minor, because that would be a minor chord right there. Anyway, we'll get to the minor suspensions, which are really fun. I'll keep moving here. So we got this, now we go down the next string set, and that's where we push into this, that's that Hendrix shape. Hendrix and everyone else who's copied him all the way down the line. The whole lineage, the whole family tree of guitar. So having that shape, I think, is wonderful. You probably have it already, but did you have the suspension? I mean, were you set up to add that pinky there? Let's put on this backing vamp again. And then this very low one has the root on the bottom, so we got... Beautiful, right? Especially if I watch it, I'll put some delay effect on the acoustic. Just to illustrate that when you spell these out, these lower triads with these suspensions, they're really nice. Okay, so we're mapping the world right here to show you where these sus4s are, and then after this we're going to play through a chord progression that will really bring it together, because we're going to be mixing and mingling these shapes. So if this is a lot for you today, that's okay. This is more of me just showing you, like, these are the things on the menu, because with each one of these positions here, and I'll reveal all the dots, we have this first shape that we just did, and there's 4 triads there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's going to be the same case for each of these positions. So you're going to have 12 total shapes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now this last grouping, can you tell me what 2 cage shapes are we mingling right here to get? This one's a little more obscure. It's definitely a tried and true bar chord shape right there, but we have to move our way into an adjacent shape to get that triad right there. So let's try that now. I will erase those. We can just focus on keeping our mind locked in on this right here. Maestro, if you would. Okay, so we're up here on the 8th fret. This one's great, beautiful, chiming. You've got that root there on top. So that's root, 5, major 3rd. Okay, let's go down to the next string group. Yeah, that's the E shape and the D shape. Okay, let's go down to the next group. I'll turn on, oh, now you can see the comments there on Instagram from the people that are watching on YouTube. So many platforms, so little time. Now down here, this might not look like a D shape, but the D shape is sort of, when it comes to the cage shapes, the D shape is the one that really kind of gets squashed in between. We know it sort of iconically for that triangle, but as we already saw, the C sort of stole the thunder there, because it's, in a way you could say that, well, that's the D shape, but it's like it falls right within the C shape. So the C and the D shape have a lot in common, and then what ends up happening is that, like, if I go to a more easy to visualize spot, like if I have this G major, so there's that E shape, the D shape is, for that G, is right there. We know that triangle, but like I said already, that's gonna pretty much already put you into the C shape. But if we go down from where that D shape is, it's the most unholdable. Don't let anyone ever tell you that that should be a chord that you hold, unless, I don't know, someone needs to write a thesis paper on cage. Like, that's not a good time. Sorry. But if you were to go down from there, you're going to get this entire shape that is pretty cool if you spread that out right there. So that's just to say, when we go all the way down there like that, that's a G that's more than a handful. But if we go down to this lower section, that's what you're seeing light up when we have that going on. Right? We've got that E shape, and then on the last sort of grab there, we've basically got the D shape right there. Great. This is all good stuff. Now, do you feel like you would be ready to start moving these shapes around? Because it's one thing to have all of the C triads mapped out. The fun begins when we scoot it around town, you know what I'm saying? So check this out. I'll increase the tempo a bit here. This is a little bit smeepy, if you ask me. Let's do that. I think we could even go a little bit faster than that, gang. I think the original tempo is 98, yeah. So let's do 98. 98 degrees, baby. Okay, for those watching, what chord progression is this? Use your ear. sound it out. Let me turn this up a bit. Got the keys playing as well. Nice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Johnny Gray, you got it. And actually, you didn't miss anything. Although I will say, we've been doing this topic all week. And just know that there's some parts of my workouts where I'll lay out a lot of dots. We'll go through it. You'll have to be digesting that more than once. So that's not a hey, just run with this. But now we'll break it down into some smaller pieces, and you'll understand where these shapes are originating from. So we've got an E, A, B chord progression, then it goes back to the A. This first shape down here, let's start there. Let's do that for E. Try to do the sus4. And now I'll switch to blue, and that's what we can do right here for, that would be for the A, right? So let's go from the top. We got that E. Now we got A. Oh, you're doing the month of mastery. Yeah, nice. Love that. And then that's that same shape. You can take that straight on up for the B. So you see the color coding there. We got that hot red for the E. Nice, right? Nice. And on this chord progression, for my money, you can absolutely get away with the sus4 on all 4 of these chords. Even though on the A chord, it kind of grabs a note from outside of E major. It sounds great. So your game would be to take a very simple chord progression, either a loop that you find, or record yourself just playing these chords, or obviously if you're in my community, you have access to this jam track. There's just a simple backing loop, but it's a really good, just sort of like backdrop to do basic triads, add the suspension. And when you do that, you will be scrubbing 2 parts of your brain. You'll be making sure that you have your triads ready to go nearby, like side by side. When you change to the 4 chord, it's going to sound really good to go to the nearest triad that's right there. You could also, by all means, you could go take the same shape and scoot it around. It's up to you as the player to decide what move you want to make. And that's the thing that hopefully the people that dig what I teach and how I teach is that I'm trying to enable you in the positive way, not in the family intervention way, but like I'm trying to enable you to have choices so that you have enough breathing room when you get to that decision point to be like, you know what, I feel like doing, or you could, in that moment before the transition to the next chord, you could decide, you know what, I'm going to stay right where I am and do this more subtle. Right? And that's really the freedom that you want. When people say like, I want to flow freely up and down the neck, that's what the experienced player has, is time. They have time. They can slow down time, or so it would seem, to make decisions on the fly. So they're not reinventing the wheel or inventing anything so much in the moment as much as they are just sort of like watching the conveyor belt go by and then deciding a moment before the next transition. And it's smooth sailing. So I talk about it a lot. It's like you've got to be able to prepare for the next thing without dropping the ball where you are. If I started thinking about the A chord while I was on the E chord, and that made me like, you know, topple the apple cart here. So if I was like 1, 2, 3, and I just sort of flame out on the E chord, and then I have to wait until the A chord to come around, that would mean I'm thinking too hard. But once I get it smoothed out, and this is where you want to be, a very simple decision can just sound like music, like da, 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 da. Now I'm getting ready, thinking of which way I want to go. I'll go up. In that moment, I'll go to this one, right? And you get these shapes, and you get all these labels and all these numbers to move into that sort of non-verbal part of your brain where it's more like a gesture of like, what's up? It's like, what's up, B chord? And the fun is not knowing everything. The fun is knowing what you know really well. So this is sort of philosophy time with Tim. But just know that any topic that we dive into the weeds with, my whole thing is like, there's no be all end all topic. I know the titles to all these videos out there will make you feel like you're missing out if you don't know all 12 of these triads. You don't need to know all of those triads, but you do need to know a bunch of them and know them very well so that you can very confidently just move through them and just have fun with it. Like genuinely, that's my goal with it. So you are only what you repeat. Yeah, and I don't know if you've heard me say that, but that's something I've said for years, and it's great that, you know, great minds think alike as far as like you are what you eat, you are what you repeat. And that's what, when it's game time on guitar, that is what reveals itself. And how many of you have done a performance recently of any sort? And the reason I'm asking this is that I think sometimes we tend to think that a performance is being on stage with a spotlight on you, you get introduced and it's like a big moment. It might be that. You might be in a band that's touring. You might be playing with your friends on the weekend. You might go out to an open mic. You might be playing with your friends and family in the backyard at a barbecue. You might be playing for your camera to send a video to your guitar coach, and all of those things count. The moment that you say, I'm going to hit record, or I'm going to say ready, set, go, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and play a song all the way through, you will feel different. You will feel a little bit sweaty, a little bit nervous, and hopefully nervous in a sort of an excited way. When you're playing for real and there's no do-overs and there's no starting and stopping or hitting the space bar or slowing it down, something will reveal itself, and it's usually what you're actually able to use and play. It's like all the bells and whistles fall to the wayside, and you're going to be there with your meat and potatoes. And depending on your preparation, you might be more or less stressed out as you grab for your go-tos, right? You know what I mean? Claire has a comment coming in here. Let's see.
Learning loads from going over the basics.
The basics. We love them.
On my way to an open
Nice.
night now, so thanks.
Oh, that's
Tim.
great, Claire. Go have fun.
Great session.
You sound like, you know, your voice is low. That's great. You know, maybe it's early over there across the pond. I love that voice. But yeah, I'm really, Claire's a member and has been doing great. And just anyone that's putting in the work, the sweat on the frets is rewarded by the gains. That's why I want to let you know that this is what I always offer. Sometimes I run sales, but every day is a good day. Every day is Christmas around here because we give you 2 weeks free to try everything out. I want you to try it and see if it's right for you, if it is your style. And I would love it if you come join us if you're watching this and you haven't checked out the membership yet, because it's fantastic. It's such a good time. What did I just do? I don't know what I just did. I think I just put something into a folder that I didn't mean to do, but there goes that image. Gone forever if you're watching on vertical. But anyway, yeah, that's my membership. It's the Guitar Friends community, and it's just so much fun. I enjoy playing. That's why I talk so much. That's why I have all the caffeine. All right, let's get back into jamming. Who has a question, by the way? I'm going to see if I can catch another question here. Had my first lesson at the Guitar Center yesterday. Yeah, that's what I know, and it was all the stuff I've been practicing. Yes. Well, that's good, Johnny. I mean, it's good to have the things that you default to and become aware of it. So sometimes it just takes a person to ask the question for you to be like, hey, actually, you know, you're right. This is my favorite key to play in. Sometimes I'll ask people like, you know, when you grab a guitar at a Guitar Center, what's the key that you play in? And sometimes people will freeze up being like, oh no, is there a wrong answer? It's like, no, it's just like, what's your favorite shape to grab first? And from that, there's probably a bunch of things that decorate it. Okay, are we playing 6 chords today? Calf really wants to know about 6 chords. Can you refine your question? Because I saw you ask it last night, and I see it here now. 6 chords, like meaning in the key of G major, like the E minor, or do you want to hear like a chord that we're adding and suspending the 6? We could. I don't think of that as much of a suspension as I do an extension. And there's definitely ways, as you can hear in like, when we're doing Glory Days, like, so that move right there, where you see the A triad under the hood right there, and then this, when we add those 2 dots right there, this note right there is the 4. In relation to this triad right here, right? We've raised the major third by 1 fret, and this note right here is the 6 in relation to that being the 5. So you can definitely do a hammer on and a pull off and do a suspension using the 6th degree of the scale. But really, everything I'm showing you today is not like a it's not like a brand new concept. These are things that you're already doing. It's more just train your ear and train your fingers to find these in various spots on the neck. And they might not always be there, meaning there might not be an easy fingering. But with that in mind, let's talk about, I think, the next most common sus chord that we see. Who would say, other than sus4, and we talked about the 6, what would be the other most common sus chord that you encounter as you're bouncing around on the guitar? And if you think back to any of the lessons that you've had, what was like looking at a chord chart, what would you have seen? And I think for a lot of us, it would be, it would be the sus2 chord. And let's go back to the scene of the crime with the D right here. D, sus4, and then sus2, easy as can be, just lift off, right? And that to me is like the essence of like that classic James Taylor sound, like the. And some really cool stuff is going to happen as we take this, again, out of just the open chord campfire zone into the rest of the neck. So, like, why would you put in the effort to learn all the triad shapes and not have these right there side by side? Because they're a way quicker method to have a cool fill than if you think, well, I'm playing a triad, now it's time to think of the D major scale to play a fill. Uh-oh, I can't think of all those dots. And then you play something that sounds a little bit stilted versus you just got this really nice movement. So it's going to give you sort of like a built-in melodic fill in the context of a triad. So let's look at that. Let's put on I don't know if I still have, I don't have that loop again, but we shall rebuild. Let me see. Let's do it over this. Yeah. I like it. So let's go up to this spot right here, 5th fret. And for the people watching on horizontal, we'll get in a little bit closer and you can see the fingering I like to use allows me to just lift off, put the pinky back down, and then scoot the pinky up. And if you're having trouble getting the pinky up, try moving your elbow in closer to your body. It will just literally turn your hand so that your pinky has a little more reach. If you're all the way back here, if you're comfortable usually having your fingers kind of at an angle to the frets, then you're gonna run out of, it's like you're gonna run out of rope or extension cord, but in this case it's finger. So just watch how the pinky gets moved up there so it can peek out right there, which is great. Right? Nice. So that's beautiful. Love it. Let's go up here to this spot on the 10th fret. Now this one is going to create a transition, so you have to change your fingering, right? So don't get too squeezed in here just clamping down on that, because you're going to have to let go and reposition. And as we go further down into this shape, it's going to reveal an area that I always do these, speaking of the 6. So that movement is super satisfying. And if I draw the main chord tones right there, like that's just the top 4 strings of that D major that I'm holding right there, okay? The sus4 is going to be right there in blue, and we'll put the sus2 down here in honey mustard. That is, I play that all the time, every time I pick up a guitar. Okay, so that is admittedly kind of a weird shape. But you got the information, right? You understand the triad, you understand where you need to go, then just ask your fingers like, hey, how can we figure this out? Because this is, you're You're going to hear that so much. You're going to hear that in John Mayer and Hendrix playing and country stuff and folk stuff. It's great. Great. So now let's see if we can, I'm just going to sort of leap ahead a bit here because I'm just sort of taking my sweet time. If I go back to that progression with the E to the A to the B, now I'm going to start to incorporate the sus4 and the sus2, and some really interesting things are going to just start to happen. Just watch. So So for example, if I do this E, the E sus4, the A sus4, the A sus2, it's just really nice and airy. But if you look at this shape as an example, right here, that's E sus4 and it wants to resolve. Now that's A sus2, those same dots. That resolves that way, right? So you're going to start to become, if you put in a little bit of extra work with this stuff, it'll make you kind of a Zen master of tension and release in a very satisfying way. Because if I just analyze that one spot there, there's my E triad. To raise the 3, I go up 1 fret. So that makes it an E sus4. If I take my A triad and I lower that 3 down to a 2, that makes that an A sus2. But those exact dots are going to be the same ones for an E sus4 as well as an A sus2, which whenever I hit those sort of like overlaps, to me that's an interesting opportunity because I can create these sort of beautiful floating kind of suspensions and resolutions. So let's say if I go to another spot here, like on the E. Right there, that E sus4, again, that's an A sus2. And I can resolve it like that. B sus4, just mess around with this for a bit. I'll actually get a little bit quiet, dare I say, and just sort of play some other examples using sus4s and sus2s. Questions, comments, concerns, confessions. What do we think, gang? G. Maynard, which part of this collection of sus4s and sus2s are you most excited to double down on? Which one of these was a revelation? Because whenever I pick a topic for the week, there's always something that I learn as well, where I'm like, oh wow, I got to dust off some cobwebs on a particular topic, or just make sure I can map the whole world. I think some of these lower ones have been a lot of fun. Getting into like and I think discovering that thing that my ear has always been drawn to, which is like that overlap of like, that's that A sus2, it's also that E sus4. Yeah, grabbing behind that, the E shape, going backwards with it. Let's see, we'll get some of these comments coming in from our morning voice, Stephen Hawking. Here we go.
I played something over that which sounded good, but I have no idea what it was.
Hey, well, that's great. That's the spark of inspiration. That's how hit songs are made. Sometimes the fewer questions you ask, the better. You know, and this is like the stuff that grabs our ear. You know, you're just going to hear more and more things where it's like, oh yeah, now that famous hooky intro to that song feels like it's pulling from this type of thing. On the road to voice leading, yes, absolutely. So like whenever I show anyone, particularly my members that start to get these concepts pulled together, meaning all the stuff that we're working on all the time. By the way, my membership is great. You should try it. You get 2 weeks totally free. It's fantastic. Swing on by guitarworkoutoftheday.com. The link is in the description here on YouTube. By all means, we would love to have you. You get welcomed in by me. You get a direct video message from me saying, hello, welcome to Actually You. And then we have the most amazing community. We have people that are just, you know, jumping in and the most warm welcome you'd ever think of. It's real people. We're over 500 members now. Hopefully by the time you see this, we're over 1 million members. No, but it's like the right amount of people that it feels close-knit, and just the camaraderie is real. And when we do our live workouts throughout the week, this comment section, it's an unlisted YouTube link, so nobody can just jump in and grab it. But it is a space where people can say, hello, howdy, how you doing? And I get to just sort of be the maestro and do my thing. So with that in mind, when I roll out all these concepts week over week, the underlying request I have for you, the practitioner, the player, is to just follow your momentum and your curiosity. So as John was mentioning, John Mandel was saying, on the road to voice leading, it's like, yeah, some of what I do with this exercise, as you hear me sort of getting a little bit bored with the exercise, which is kind of the idea, the exercise, as good as it is, should make you feel like, but what if I did this? You should do this. So voice leading might be what it sounds like. You lead our ear with the voice of the guitar to move into the next transition. And the more confident you are, it'll be reflected in how smoothly, once again, you're able to transition to the next chord before that moment comes. So I'll show you. So if I have an E, that was not a good example. I was going to the wrong chord there. But even those little chromatic movements are ways of showing yourself that you got this, like you're comfortable. So if I go, little movement into that A. So voice leading, as far as the way that I regard that term, often refers to making economical movements that are really satisfying. So when I go from that A triad to that E, it's already got really good voice leading, we might say. Good being just sort of like a, hey, if that's the sound you're going for, that's a good example of it. Don't get tired of the good, you know, isms being like good being better and bad being blah, 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 blah. So you get it. So we've got this smooth movement here of common tones, meaning right here we've got this like, that's what's happening in the top 2 strings. This is what's happening in all the first 3 strings. And that's really cool to hear that movement. And meanwhile, there's a common tone right here of this. That's a satisfying sound, like if you've ever sung in a choir. Galen has. When you're standing next to someone who's singing a harmony and their harmony moves and somebody else, like usually it's like the altos or the middle voices, they stay on the same note. It's beautiful. It just is. Like we like that. Bach proved it. We like that. And it doesn't mean you have to do it every time. But when you do want to do it, you do it every time. And all these little subtle movements and these suspensions get you kind of flipping the latches of the chords without going too jazzy or too exotic, which nothing wrong with that, but you're staying within the sort of more natural sound of the chords, introducing a little bit of lift, a little bit of tension. And you're sort of suspending the resolution. So right there, when I went from that A, went A sus4 back to A. Now let's imagine the bass player and the rest of the band has just gone back to E. I suspended the resolution. I'm still on the sus4, and then I went down to the E. And that prolonged, that deferred sort of landing is nice when it's done skillfully. And that's where you come in with all that skill. All right, let's talk about minors, and then I'll send you off on your way into your weekend. Hoping you're having a great weekend thus far. Yeah, the A sus4, the A to the A sus4, right? That's why it's kind of regarded as the amen, like amen. That is the ultimate. We're singing to the angels there with it. How about this? This is D minor going down to C major. What I have up on the board is just the top 3 strings, D minor, because this is where I want to show you what I had not really explored, is that a minor sus4. It's totally valid, totally great sounding. Now we go down to a C. So the C isn't written up there, but we know the C major ones already. So let's just try this. Go with me on this. Go to this first position here of the D minor, that campfire D minor, and now you need to have a pinky available to grab that. Now play any sort of C major with a sus4. You can do a sus2. So you'll notice if we go back to the same spot here with the D minor, it looks almost like a D major. We just lowered the third. This sounds bad because that's a major third, but that's that minor third. So the recipe is just that when you go from that minor third, that flat third, you're gonna go 2 frets above the 3 because it's a flat 3, right? So if it was major, this will sound bad, I know. That's that major, you just go up 1 fret. But with minor, you go up 2 frets. So you have to position your hand accordionly, to be able to grab that. So free up the pinky to be able to do that. Okay, so watch this. Let's go up here 5th fret now. Let's go up to this 10th fret. Here we go. And this is maybe what we know most traditionally from box 1. Right? Then C major. So just to sort of drive this home, if you were sitting in with a band and you were jamming, well, let's say you invited people over. Let's say you led the jam. You have people over and you drop into a real easy D minor, and you're like, cool, I like that. And then what should we do now? Oh, let's go down to C major. Great, okay. And then you go, oh, I like that. Cool. Okay, we should order in. Let's get some jalapeno poppers going. Snap, we got to get this going. Let's go. Okay, let's go back to the and you've just locked yourself in to the next 27 minutes of your life, having a great time because it's minimal thinking, pretty maximal sort of payoff, and the band sounds good. You got a bass player, you got like a beaver playing like a broom handle that's going into a wash tub, and it sounds great. Boom, 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 boom. So this is happening now, and you're doing this. That's when I want today's lesson in jam to be poking you like, hey, after a few minutes of just playing the chords, and doing this and being like, I love this. You know what? Let's get crazy bread. Get crazy bread. You look at each other, you're starting to feel a little bit like the flavor is going out. What can you do? It's like, well, I don't know that I want to play a solo. Maybe you do, and you're like, okay, I'll play the solo, it's okay, but now what? This is that something in between. And it's just like putting a bit of salt and pepper. Just try it. You have free reign to sort of play with these latches of doing sus4 and sus2, and you're still playing the chords. You're just playing the chords, but you're making them a little bit leaner and cleaner and greener on the environment. No salad! Okay, not that kind of green. You just sort of play whatever you want. I swear to God, Greg, if you get salad again, I'm gonna... No, don't do it. So I'm just adding in here. The honey mustard is the sus2. Okay, and I'll draw that line there. So these are like their own zones right here. You could be adding to the jam and having it be like comfortable and undulating and all this good stuff. You get the idea. So you try it now. Here we go. Great hanging out with y'all. I hope you do check out our community. We are a good time. We kick it on the regular, nightly workouts. We have a Friday Zoom hang. We have monthly Dare to Share challenges. There's merch. You can win things. Life is good. You like guitar? I like guitar. Let's hang out. Sneaky, that one. Callum, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging, everybody. Greg, Wes, Michael B, Galen, Calf Tech, and everybody in the back say, whoa! Hope to see y'all soon. It is very Sultans. To my man, Guy. I see you, Guy. Try this little slap echo. Calf Tech, I got the foot right there. Look at that crisp kick. I got the sort of budget version of the Converse from Amazon. I'm not proud of it, but I needed it. They don't sell size 13s every day of the week in the in-between colors in the Converse, you know what I mean?